What started out as a dumb video of me making a chair out of hot glue now has millions of views. It doesn't make any sense. Let's look at some of the comments. This man is now officially the most peculiar person I've ever seen. Clearly his chair was terrible. But you should be able to make a very sturdy chair if you know anything about structural engineering. Now I'm interested to see an actual sturdy hot glue chair. All these comments got me thinking. Could I put my 2.5 brain cells together and make a hot glue chair that actually works? At this point, I have to try. Time to do some research.
Check out that elevator shaft up there. Triangles that are stiffening the structure around it. That walkway down there has triangles all over it.
I know this isn't going to work out so great because what shape is it?
Parallelogram.
And this parallelogram are giving me those 3 S's. Stability, stiffness, and support.
After my extensive research, I've concluded that I need a lot of triangles and more mass to pull this off. The legs are going to look something like this, like metal trusses you might see under a bridge, but hot glue. The side profile will look something like this. Each leg truss will be 20 inches long, requiring 9 diagonal pieces on each side. And now it's just time to start making. First, I'm going to cut a whole bunch of these diagonal pieces. Cutting the diagonals with a razor blade seemed a little unsafe. I tried a few other ideas but resorted to scissors later on. Unfortunately, power tools are a little out of my budget at this point. Once I cut enough lengths, I got to gluing. Who needs epoxy tables when you got hot glue chairs? After gluing the first couple of trusses, I was getting a little excited, but cutting the diagonals was definitely the worst / most grindy part. I wish I had a jig to cut all these diagonal pieces, because as you'll see later in the video, using scissors became a little hazardous, but you gotta start somewhere, I guess. Once I got some trusses finished, they seem pretty strong. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a soup break. I decided to glue some diagonals inside the leg as well because I really want this to work, because if it doesn't, I'll probably have to do it again. The process of making a hot glue chair is not all that exciting. It's mainly cutting, gluing, so that's pretty much it. Some people were worried about the cost of the glue, so I'll do a cost breakdown once I finish the chair. When I went back to cutting more hot glue, disaster struck. I didn't film the actual clip of me cutting myself, and even if I did, I wouldn't include it because there was a lot of blood. I ended up going to urgent care just to make sure everything healed right. I learned my lesson, but the show must go on, and by the show I mean gluing and cutting and gluing and cutting and gluing. Let me know in the comments what you would call this chair, and I'll feature my favorite in the next video. Most of my previous content has been TikTok focused. Now that TikTok could potentially be banned, I'm trying to improve my YouTube game. It's not as easy as it looks. I started making things out of hot glue because I don't have the tools or space or money to use other materials, and I want to see how far hot glue can go. My ultimate goal is to make a hot glue girlfriend and then hopefully save up enough money to buy a 3D printer and 3D print our children. You may have spotted the books in the bottom right corner there. It's kind of a flex, but I learned how to read before I even got to high school. So I'm just trying to get back in the practice of reading every day instead of doom scrolling on TikTok until my brain is oatmeal, like Quakers. The backrest structure was a bit tricky to cut because it's such a steep angle, but I got through it in the end. I figured out how to make sheets of hot glue when, believe it or not, I made a shirt out of hot glue. I asked my mom if she knew anything that doesn't stick to hot glue, and she said silicone. I figured you could put hot glue in between two sheets of silicone and roll it out to make, a flat piece of hot glue. The moral of the story is that you can always ask your mom. Or, sorry, my mom. You can always ask my mom. Thanks, Mom. I glued some diagonal cross braces on the back that I didn't film. Get ready for some ASMR in 3, 2, 1. As I glued the sheets of hot glue on the seat and the backrest, I was getting a little sad because I always do that at the end of a project because the next part is facing judgment. This is part of why I have so many unfinished projects. It's the fear that this thing that I've put so much time into is actually very bad. It helps to remember that if I finish enough projects, eventually one will be good, and I'll learn a lot more from finishing than just starting, even if it's a failure. Probably, especially if it's a failure. The great thing about already being a failure in life is that you can do anything you want after that, even if it seems dumb or is something you know nobody else cares about. So I've made a chair out of hot glue, and now I'm gonna sit in it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.